Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're just going to wait a couple minutes as a few more folks join us right now at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Okay, how is everyone doing this morning?
Good.
Good. I see some jazz hands from Boomer. Welcome to IPAY at Baboró Festival. This is a really special opportunity to virtually be together as a part of Showcase in Place with IPAY. And again, we're just going to load a couple more people in from the waiting room before we kick things off. Hello from Montreal, Belfast. Hello. We have a good handful of folks here, so I am going to get things rolling. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam Tower. I use she, her pronouns. I'm with International Performing Arts for Youth, and I'm the engagement manager with IPAY. I'm so excited that you're here. I am calling in today from what's known as Philadelphia, the traditional and occupied land of the Lenni Lenape people in the United States. And I'm, again, thrilled to welcome you to IPAY's Showcase in Place and this very special opportunity to visit the Baboró Festival from wherever you are in the world. And as we're getting started, I invite you to mute yourself, but to keep your video on, and so we can see your beautiful, bright faces, and you can respond as you would if we were all in the room together. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to pass things to Ashlyn to get things kicked off and to introduce Baboró Festival and begin our program. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Thanks, Sam. My name is Ashlyn Ohoka from Baboró International Arts Festival for Children, and you're all very welcome today. I am based here in Galway, which is on the west coast of Ireland. For those of you who haven't been here yet, but I hope that you will come one day to visit our festival. We are a small medieval city of about 80,000 people. It's a real university town, a very cultural city. We're practically tripping over festivals every weekend here all year round. We're also in what's called the Gaeltachts, which is the Irish-speaking part of Ireland, where a lot of our population and our school children talk As Gaeilge. Baboró is now in its 24th year, and so it's quite an established international festival at this point. One of the cornerstones of Baboró's foundation is the right of each child to enjoy arts and culture, as stated in Article 31 on the UN Convention of the Rights of the Child. And that's really that forms the basis, I suppose, of every decision that we make, and we try to reach as many children as we possibly can through our programs year round, and also at our festival, which takes place in October every year. And we do that by inviting a lot of schools to come to the festival, and we subsidize heavily their input into the festival through tickets, and through subsidized tickets, free tickets, subsidized bus and free workshops, etc. And this year obviously is a year like no other all around the world, and Baboró has also been affected. But just to give you a little taste, I suppose, of what normally happens at this time of the year. For example, last year we reached almost 24,000 children through schools and family programs and community programs. Over 7 days, those almost 24,000 children interacted with us. They came to the festival in the city and also in the surrounds, in the countryside around us. They enjoyed dance, theatre, music, film, visual art, creative engagement workshops, presented by 14 companies, 131 artists, 110 performances in 32 venues in the city and county. We also had festival artists in residence, and we welcomed 63 delegates from around Ireland and also around the world. And I see some faces here today that we would normally be welcoming to Galway at this time of the year. So it's a really vibrant, really fun festival, and that's very deliberate. I suppose we're always trying to create that sense and that choice that adults have in terms of going to a cultural event and going to a festival and really being absorbed into the festival and being able to choose whether you go to a workshop or a show or go to see some art in a gallery, and really to enjoy that excitement, I suppose, of being stimulated by all of that brilliant art. And we work with fantastic artists from around Ireland and the world. Last year, we also kicked off our Baboró Galway 2020 project because Galway this year is European Capital of Culture. And so we have a three-pronged project as part of that award. And which was the commissioning of a new show and 2 community art projects as well that unfortunately have had to be stalled at the moment, but we are hopeful that they will be able to continue and that we'll be able to present something in March 2021. So this year, as we all took in the news of our changed landscape, I suppose, in March, unfortunately we had to take the decision to cancel all of our international work and to engage with the artists, the Irish artists who were due to present with us at this time of the year, and to talk to them about how we could deliver the program. And so we redesigned the program. We engaged with more artists, more Irish artists than had originally been in the program. And we devised a program. I suppose it was a mixture of live performance and also online and some outdoor events. Again, as has happened all over the world, things continued to evolve and to change. And on the second day of our festival, we went to what's called level 3 here in Ireland, where all of the galleries and theatres were shut. But before that, we had a week of wonderful shows of Sing Me to the Sea by Anna Newell, which you'll hear about a little later on in this presentation, which is a wonderful intimate show for children with additional needs, with three audience members at a time. We had 2 days of She Crashes In and Fizzles Out, which is a newly commissioned artwork and installation by a local artist, Jojo Hines, which we managed to film and is now a virtual tour available on the Baboró website. And we had 2 shows of the Wild Garden Adventures. And so we had to, I suppose, deal with those changes kind of mid-festival as such. So we've worked with fantastic Irish artists, some of whom unfortunately we just couldn't find a way of delivering the program this year. For some other artists such as Paul Noonan, who you're going to meet later here, and also the Barcelo brothers, they very generously offered intimate Zoom concerts with the ticket holders who had booked for the physical event, and are also doing Facebook Live concerts. So I suppose very quickly we've had to try to adapt and to reach our audience in the best way that we possibly can, because we as a team are very passionate that we continue to reach children and to really nurture their creativity and let them experience beautiful art even in these really difficult times. And, you know, we really need these more than we ever have before. So before I introduce you to Boomer, I just want to mention that our online program continues until the 18th of October, which is Sunday. So there are still some events there that you can check out. The University of Wonder and Imagination from Cahoots Northern Ireland, which you'll hear about later when Paul tells us about that fantastic show, really innovative show. And also from Australia, Mountain Goat Mountain, which is a audio-led theatre show that you can make in your living room with your family and one bed sheet. Couldn't be simpler, but it's great fun. And I really hope that I will have an opportunity to welcome you to Galway next year or in future years to come and experience the magic that is the Baboró Festival. So I've probably gone on too long. I'm going to hand you over to Boomer here on my left. Hi, Boomer. And thanks so much for having us. And it's been a great collaboration with IPAY over many years at this point, and look forward to continuing that partnership.
Thank you so much. And thank you for that welcome. I'm with you. I really wish I'm used to being in Galway at this time at the festival and miss it. So I feel for you and with you in spirit. As Ashlyn said, I'm Boomer. I'm the executive director for IPAY, and I'm calling in from the traditional and unceded lands of the Anishinaabe, the Huron-Wendat, and the Algonquin peoples. It's about 3 hours north of what's colloquially known as Toronto. So I'm snug in the woods here. It's very Irish weather out today. It's been raining since about yesterday morning. So it's putting me in the mood of Galway for sure. This program is part of it's part of our Showcase in Place program, which we launched October 1st and is running through to November 15th. We hope that you take part in some of the other great features that we have. We have 30 great productions that we're showcasing all 6 weeks. 2 of the artists are with us here today. Paul and Chantel, we're going to see a little bit of their work, but we also have great work from around the world, as well as many opportunities to connect with folk from companies, from festivals, from art centers. We're trying to provide as many opportunities to be a gathering place still, to hear what's going on around the world, to hear how artists are dealing with these times, but also how we're looking forward to being on the other side. Once this first Showcase in Place ends, we have 2 more Showcase in Places that you can register for, both as a delegate, and we also have open calls for submission. So I encourage you, I'll pop the link into the chat, but I encourage you to check out the 2 great programs that are coming up that take us through to the end of January. So again, we're really trying to open up and be a connection point and offer a lot of the things that we would if we were able to come together again for Showcase. And so I would love to see all of these smiling faces beyond today's session. This session is also a culmination of, as Ashlyn said, many years of conversation and development. I think it may have actually started in a bar in Galway, talking about how do we create more opportunities to develop relationships with Irish artists. It had followed a time. Coincidentally, we received a phone call in the IPAY office from Mary Lou McCarthy, who was touring the US with a show from the Abbey, asking how IPAY might be able to help connect them with people in the US. And it kind of opened our eyes to a lot of the activity that's going on in Ireland, both sides of the border. And some exciting things that we felt were worthy of sharing to our global community. And so it started a conversation about how do we bring Irish delegates to IPAY? How do we showcase the great work that's going on stage, but also supporting the work that's on stage, the great educational, the great community engagement work that's happening. And so if you were with us in Philadelphia last year, you could not have missed the great Irish delegation. I think most of the island was in Philadelphia for Showcase. For the first time in the like 20 years that I've been going to Showcase, it's the first time I've ever seen dancing in the exhibit hall, all down to, I'm going to say the Irish, but really it was the Irish underneath the counters, the Jamesons. I think that was really encouraging folks to dance, but great spirit, great opportunities to meet artists. Again, we saw some of that live on stage. And I believe it was a great opportunity to deepen the relationships that existed between artists and presenters. The dream at that point was to then take IPAY to Ireland and be at Galway with a delegation of presenters from around the world to continue that opportunity. We obviously can't do that in person, but we wanted to continue through with that spirit and present this opportunity today. And so it's a great pleasure to be able to offer this session, to continue to introduce Irish artists. We hope it's just another step in opportunities to meet artists, again, from both sides of the border. And we hope that this is a way to encourage all of us to be able to travel to Ireland in the future to attend some of these events in the future. I really do have to acknowledge the great support that we've had from Culture Ireland in all of this. In the beginning, it was a dream, and we knew it wasn't a dream that we could just make happen without any support. And right from the beginning, Culture Ireland was there. They understood what a great opportunity this was, and for both sides. And they've been able to financially and emotionally and technically support this endeavor from the start. So I thank you for that. And with that, I would like to introduce Kiran Walsh from Culture Ireland to say a few words about that. Thanks for being here, Kiran.
Boomer, now I'm slightly embarrassed. Hi everyone, hello from Dublin. I'm Kiran Walsh, the Showcase Manager with Culture Ireland. Great to see so many of you here. Great to see so many familiar faces from Philadelphia too. And particularly I want to welcome Irish artists who are with us in Philadelphia. It's great to see you, although virtually. So we are the state agency that promotes Irish arts worldwide. Obviously, our new reality is something different. And as we move forward, we're very keen to keep the connections that we started in Philadelphia and IPAY, to keep those connections going and relationships as the new reality dawns on us and as the new system for touring and for presenting work and for co-productions and co-presenting becomes clearer over the coming months and years. So we would really encourage you to come and talk to us if you have any thoughts about how you might present the work of Irish artists in your territory. I want to acknowledge Boomer, of course, and IPAY for the work that they've done in getting the Ireland Focus as successful as it was in Philadelphia in January. I know that all the artists who were there were really heartened by their response. I want to thank Aisling and the team at Baboró, who just pivoted with such grace and elegance under fire in the last 2 weeks. So kudos to them for that. And also, of course, to the artists who over the last 6 months have continued to show us how resilient and creative they are in these changed circumstances. And I look forward to hearing from all of them coming up shortly. And with that, I hand you back to Boomer. Thank you very much.
Thanks again, Kiran. So we have the distinct pleasure of welcoming two artists from Ireland who are official showcasing artists. Just in case you're not aware, traditionally we have an open call, or sorry, an open submission for showcase works We typically have about 120 to 150 applications, and all of those applications are reviewed by an international jury of presenters and producers. And after 3 days of debate, discussion, viewing those videos, they shortlist a list of their top 30. And so those top 30 are the ones that we turn around and put on stage, traditionally live. And this year, when we released that call, it was still pre-COVID in Philadelphia. And so because we had initiated that process, we really wanted to honor the process. We did selection committee, but by virtual means. And I'm really happy to say that there were 2 Irish works that came through that process and were selected by the committee. It's not really a surprise. I would say over the past 5 or 6 years, we've seen more and more Irish work, and we're very happy to welcome Paul Curley and Chantal from Fidget Feet as the 2 official selected companies, 2 selected artists, and we're very pleased to give them space here to tell us a little bit about the work, and we're actually going to see some of the video. So I'm going to turn it over to Paul first to tell us a little bit about The Dig.
Thank you so much, Boomer. Delighted to be here. My name is Paul Curley. I'm calling from Dublin today. I'm a theatre artist with expertise in making and performing theatre for young audiences, which is why I'm here at IPAY, Showcase in Place. It's lovely to see you all. I recognize some familiar faces and names, others I've not met before. So please allow me to introduce myself and my work. I'll chat to you directly for about 3 minutes, and then I'll give you a sneaky peek of a 5-minute section of my Spotlight Show and Tell video. I know, the excitement of it all. So over the past 20 years, I know it doesn't look like it, but I've worked with many of the leading theatre companies in Ireland and the UK, formative collaborations with Philip Hardy from Barnstorm and Kilkenny in Ireland, Olivia and Toby and Told Stories in London, Alice McGrath's Redbridge Arts, along with Andy Manley, Catherine Wheels, and more recently, Theatre Reflection in Denmark. That these ongoing relationships have formed and shaped my own approach as an independent theatre artist, making and presenting Bake in 2016, and more recently, The Dig in 2019. I would describe the theatre I make as engaging, original, and collaborative. And collaborative in the sense that I work closely with designers, directors, technicians, venue directors, and of course, audiences as well. Today, however, I'm here to speak specifically about The Dig. The Dig is a delightful theatre experience for children aged 6 years plus. The work is poetic and lyrical with a heartfelt story. But don't just take my word for it. The reviews are in. Written by children who have actually seen the show in Riverbank Arts Centre, Newbridge, County Kildare, Ireland. This is from Lara, 8 years old. I thought The Dig was really good, funny and creative. I liked how the actor was playing 2 characters at once. Oh, thanks, Lara. One of the funniest plays I've ever seen. I hope there's a second part to it. That's Kevin, 9 years old. And a teacher from Sculwera in Newbridge. This is one of the best shows for my class I've seen. A wonderful, funny yet poignant story. So educational and creative. Would highly recommend. Oh, thank you, miss. So The Dig, as I said, is a show for young audiences. The presentation of the show is supported by a bespoke educational resource pack for teachers and students. It's a one-person show. It's 45 minutes long. The target age group is 6 years plus. Company on the road consists of 3 people: performer, stage manager, and relighter. I'm totally open, especially in these circumstances, to performing and presenting in alternative spaces, be it in schools, outdoor playgrounds, museums, or parks. The Dig producer, Richie O'Sullivan, is happy to discuss any potential presentation opportunities and can be contacted at richieosullivan.arts@gmail.com, or you can email me at pixiepaul@gmail.com. A nice, easy one to remember, Pixie Paul. So The Dig is supported by the Arts Council of Ireland, Roscommon Arts Centre, Draocht, Irish Theatre Institute, Baboró, and Culture Ireland. I'll see you on the Attendify app in the virtual marketplace, at kindling sessions, watch parties, and all things IPAY over the next few weeks. I look forward to seeing you then. So I'll leave you with a video. It's a more calm, better lit version of myself and my work. Sam is going to play the video, so enjoy, and I'll see you. The show is called The Dig, made in collaboration with designer Ger Clancy and director Robert Allen Evans. The Dig delves into the world of archaeology. The action follows the antics of central character, junior archaeologist Mac, who has a propensity to get lost in stories, which is a bit unfortunate in a world where facts and figures mean so much more than fairy tale and fantasy.
Linda, come in. Do you read me? Linda, can you hear me?
Mac, I can hear you, Mac.
Linda, I found something.
What is it?
It's a plate. I think it might have belonged to a girl who once upon a time walked...
Mac, stop with the stories. No guessing, no estimating, no surmising, no extrapolating, no contemplating. No ifs, buts, or maybes. We're not in the business of stories, Mac. We're in the business of facts.
But Linda, there must be a story.
Mac, I've had it up to here with you and your stories. I've got the council banging on my tent door every day. They want this road built. Your job is to find anything that might be of archaeological importance, and so far, you found nothing.
What about the coin I found?
10 a penny.
The tea bag?
Not strong enough.
The shoe?
Load of cobblers. Come back to me with something big. Something amazing. Now, get back to work before we have to close this dig down for good. Over and out.
Despite his best efforts, Mac's dig doesn't produce anything significant, much to the dismay of his boss Linda, recorded by the wonderfully witty Claire Barrett, who retorts, as we say in archaeology, we start at the top and work our way down.
Just remember, Mac, in archaeology we start at the top
And work our way down.
Yes.
And so when Mac hits rock bottom, he remembers the stories his granny used to tell him when he was little and when he would visit her in her house in the woods.
She used to live around here, in a house just over the hill. She knew this place really well, told stories about it all the time. I used to visit her every weekend when I was little, to give my mum some peace. I would wind my way along the path that led from my house. Bye, Mum. Through the village. Hello, Mrs. Brennan. And into the woods. All the way right to Granny's door. I'd lift the latch and walk on in.
These moments of memory lead Mac on a trail of making a very significant archaeological discovery. Spoiler alert, it involves a wolf.
What is it? It's a tooth. I can see that. But where did you get it? Oh, it's a long story. Well, give me the short version and stick to the facts. This is a tooth from a wolf. No, it's not. The sun was high in the sky as the girl with the little red hat made her way along the path and through the woods. Granny, I've heard this one before. The wolf watched her through the trees, following her every step. Granny, it's just a story, and I know it's not true. Where are you going to this fine morning? To visit my granny? Look at those flowers over there. Aren't they lovely? So she stepped off the path. She shouldn't have done that. She was curious and intelligent and independent. What good is sticking to the path, Parsnip? Nobody ever got anywhere by doing nothing. Look, I know you don't believe me, but it is a wolf's tooth. Here, you have it. It'll bring you good luck and maybe a bit of sense. Linda, Linda, I found something. I found something. Amazing.
Amazing, Paul. Thanks for passing it on to me. That was great. So hi everyone, my name is Chantal McCormick and I'm the creative director of Fidget Feet Aerial Dance Company and the Irish Aerial Creation Centre, which is the national home for aerial arts in Limerick, Ireland. And today I'm presenting Strange Feathers, which is suitable for 7-month-old and 7-year-olds. And what's been so special about making the show Strange Feathers was that it really was a co-creation with our friends in Iceland and and Fidget Feet artists in Ireland. And we had the pleasure of making the show in Iceland and in Ireland, so you can really feel that cultural exchange when you see the show. It was co-produced by Fidget Feet and the Riverbank in Kildare in Ireland, and also Bird and the Bat in Iceland. And it was funded by the Arts Council of Ireland, Culture Ireland, and the city of Reykjavik. And Strange Feathers is an aerial dance performance. So those of you that might not know the term aerial dance, it's where we mix circus skills and circus equipment with dance, and we call it aerial dance. And it also has live music, and it's a non-verbal performance. And when we made it first, we made it in the round, we made it really immersive and really like un-COVID friendly, where everybody's sitting really close and they get amazing reaction. So we can adapt this to a stage show. That's what we can say right now. And the story is about 2 little birds that hatch out of their eggs and learn to fly. And they get a little bit of help from their surroundings in nature. It is a colourful, beautiful, bright performance, ready to tour to your village, your town, your city, when it's safe to do so. So far, Fidget Feet has performed Strange Feathers 120 times in 10 different countries. And Strange Feathers can tour with 4 performers and 1 technical person. And all the set, costumes, rigging equipment can travel in suitcases with the cast and the crew. And it is a 25-minute piece that can be performed 2 or 3 times a day. And we also have a show package. And I see Heidi is here. She might give a wave. Heidi was really good in helping us to write the show package, or school package that's suitable for America and Ireland. And just before I share the video with you, I wanted to let you know into a little secret, because we have had lots of time to reflect over this COVID time. So the Strange Feathers Birds has decided that they would like to make a sequel of Strange Feathers, and that they would like to call it Stranger Feathers. So we have a little bit of ideas of how we might do that. And the Birds would like to make the show again in Ireland and Iceland, because the numbers in Iceland are a lot lower, maybe, than what they are in Ireland currently. And so if there's anyone out there that would be interested in commissioning or giving us a residency or helping us out, we'd like to find ways in which we can bring these characters maybe virtually or in real life. So now I'm going to show you some research and development of the stages of how we made Strange Feathers, and then a short edit of the show that we performed in Hong Kong. So enjoy, and Sam, take it away.
Give up. No! 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 Ow!
Thanks very much, Chantal. That was fantastic. Brought me back to Baboró. I can't remember exactly which year. It's 2017, I think, when Strange Feathers was part of our festival here, and our young audiences really loved it. And it was really fascinating to hear about how you had made that co-production with your partners in Iceland. And thank you so much, Paul, also for your presentation. And I know that you should have been playing in the Mclaughlin Theatre in Galway this very week. So it's just such a strange time, and so unfortunate that we got so close to that presentation and to many others over the festival. So I'll move on, and we're going to now introduce you to a number of different artists who have been, or are kind of associated, I suppose, with the festival this year in various different ways, some of whom were to perform, have performed, and we'll work through it that way. So first of all, I'm going to introduce you to Philida Eves, who gladly and luckily for us presented Hear Our Voice, a week of Hear Our Voice in a special school called St. Joseph's for a week of the festival. And because she was artist in the show was in residency there, I suppose, outside the school, we were able to continue last week. And she'll tell you about that show. And just to mention that she also delivered some workshops for children with additional needs in Bridget's Garden, which is in County Galway. And again, she worked outside, just one family at a time. So there were tiny audiences, again, with additional needs. So in fact, that very special audience this year have been served relatively well compared in a live sense at Baboró this year, which is a wonderful thing. So I'll hand you over to Philida to tell you about her show.
Thank you, Aisling. Hello, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here. Just as exciting almost as IPAY in Philadelphia. Maybe not quite, but it's still great. Yes, it's just wonderful to be here talking to you about Hear Our Voice, which was a show with Baboró this year, which was very exciting. Hear Our Voice is a show for an audience of 6 children with additional needs. And we have performed it many times through many schools in Galway. The show was created completely, utterly and absolutely in collaboration with a class of 6 children on the autistic spectrum in a school in Galway. So it's very much, we work very much with and for children with special needs. Just a quick one on my background. My background is that I was a teacher for about 18 years of children with special needs. And I used to do have lots of sensory elements in my classroom and everything. And I just knew it was the way to go, the way to teach the children, the way for them to learn and be engaged. And I got frustrated by the lack of time and the lack of ability to really get stuck in and do loads with them. So 4 or 5 years ago, I said, let's try something different. And I went and trained with Bamboozle and Oily Cart and went to the Lincoln Centre in New York and trained in sensory theatre. And it's been just a dream journey ever since then. So I work with musicians. I've worked with Michael Chang and Miguel Barcelo and Thomas Johnson, and we have live music throughout our shows. The target audience for Hear Our Voice is age 4 to 18. I was wonderful in the school last week. The teenagers kind of teenaged it. It was really exciting how they just made their own, because the show is so completely responsive to the children who are at the shows. So the show was in the school, like we said, in a contained garden, quite a big contained garden with an orchard. And the children started by going along and picking up. We introduced ourselves, the lovely song, and the children went around picking apples and collecting them in baskets. And it gave a chance for the children just to get a measure of what was going on and to see what was happening. And there was live music the whole time. So we went through the orchard gathering apples, came back to an area in front of a big, beautiful tent. And the children we found a little pond. And it was very sensory because we pumped the water into the pond in beautiful sunshine in Galway. The water was sparkling and went straight into the pond. It was beautiful. And all the children loved this. They're kind of mesmerized. And then we did some fishing. And again, even the teenagers loved this, and it just became very funny and full of charm. Then we got a bit cold and we looked around and we found some wood, which was strategically placed around the school garden. And we built a bonfire with just special, beautiful red and yellow lights and lovely hand warmers. And the children, one of the classes started dancing around the bonfire. So then suddenly we had a dance around the bonfire in some of the shows, which was lovely. We cooked the fish, we just had a lot of fun. Then in the tent, it's revealed where the night sky comes up full of starry lights and the children crawl in underneath that, and it becomes a magical moment of lying, just resting under the stars, and lovely live music accompanying all that. Bird song wakes us up, and in the morning the shadow puppets going across the outside of the tent of birds, and the children running around trying to catch them and listening to the bird song. That's just the story, but of course it adapts completely for the different age groups that are there, and each show is so responsive to the children and their needs. I just wanted to read you a little bit of feedback we got from one of the teachers. It was interesting how a lot of the teachers said this. They wouldn't have believed how the children all engaged and absolutely enjoyed every second of the show. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't been there. If I'd been told, I would have been a little bit more skeptical. It was amazing to see the pupils who do not engage in the classroom to be so involved and participating so wonderfully. We found a child who usually is on the periphery of everything, came right into the centre and actually joined the whole show for 25 or 35 minutes, and the teachers were just amazed. The show fits into the back of a car. It can go anywhere. All we need is an enclosed garden. It's adaptable to Irish weather. If it was pouring with rain, as it did quite often, well, no, it didn't, but it could have. The children would be in the tent and the performers were outside. When the weather was fine, we were outside most of the time, and we kept our distance and we didn't go into the tent with the children. So it was very clear, very simple. The show is available. We'd love to bring it anywhere. And just to say also, I'm available for consultation if any school would like to be interested in just making a piece that's thoroughly interactive and immersive and is just very individual for the children and the space they're in. So thank you very much. It's lovely to talk to you all, and all the very best.
Thanks so much, Phillida. And yeah, the reaction from schools and indeed from families has been pouring into Baboró here. So it really was very, very welcome intervention, I think, in Galway this week and last. So next I'd like to introduce you to Joe Cummins from Moonfish Theatre, a local ensemble company here, who I approached back in the summer when we realised that we were in a position of redesigning the programme, I suppose, and I was thinking of rather traditional, I suppose, audio plays, and that idea of a family listening to the radio together, and so I approached Moonfish, and thankfully they were open to the idea, and so we've been on a journey ever since, which Joe will tell you a little bit more about.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for that introduction, Aisling. I'm Joe, I'm from Moonfish Theatre. Moonfish is a Galway-based theatre company. We create work in English and Irish that is rooted in the limitless possibilities of the imagination. We are a collaborative ensemble that blends language, storytelling, music and dance with puppetry, interactive technology and light to create exhilarating experiences for our audiences. We create work for young people and adults, and our work has toured all over Ireland, to Europe and to the US. We had planned to be on tour right now, but obviously we're not. In the current climate where we're not able to see our audiences face to face, we're creating our latest project, Into the World Within. Into the World Within is an audio adventure for children aged 6 and up and their grown-ups, which will be accompanied by workshops which will empower children to make their own radio plays in their own homes. When COVID hit, we decided to take this opportunity to explore the world of radio drama. We've been approached by Baboró, who were interested in collaborating with us, and the result is a fantastical audio journey devised via Zoom by the Moonfish Ensemble and inspired by the extraordinary time we're all living through. Into the World Within is a radio drama created without any digital sound effects. Instead, these will be created using live Foley art. As part of the Into the World Within package, alongside the radio drama, Moonfish are creating online workshops around the making of Into the World Within. Now, these workshops will guide young participants into the world of making Foley art and encourage them to experiment with creating their own radio plays at home. The technology to do this is widely available, even if you just have a smartphone, and it's a fantastic opportunity for creativity in this time of limited live art. With children at the moment unable to access their usual creative outlets, such as orchestras, youth theatres, dance classes, we feel this project is a hugely needed alternative. We've used live Foley on stage in previous productions, and the reaction from young audiences was just overwhelming. They've been so engaged and fascinated and excited to create their own Foley after witnessing ours. The studio recording of the audio drama will be filmed and available alongside the workshops to allow audiences to witness the creation of the play in the studio. So a little bit about the play itself. Into the World Within weaves together present-day Ireland under the cloud of COVID-19 and a fantasy world created in the imaginations of our two young protagonists, Alex and Nikki, siblings who embark on an extraordinary adventure into a fantastical underworld through a pillow fort in their bedroom. We explore the project's central theme, which deals with change, depression, and upheaval. Through their journey and the challenges along the way, Alex and Nikki find a way to deal with what to them is the transformation of their uncle from a beloved visitor, full of fun and stories, to a distant shadow of his former self. By throwing themselves into an imaginary world of legends and epic adventure, Alex and Nikki tackle their desire to fix their uncle and find that stories don't always end the way you expect them to. We took inspiration from the rich culture of Irish myths, song and legends to create a story that really exploits the incredible potential of radio drama to just transport us to another world. We've had great responses to this. Feel like lots of people want to have a break from this world at the moment and be transported into another one. So anyone wanting to get involved with Into the World Within can do so without leaving their own homes. We aim to release the play and the workshops on audio channels before the end of this year. And we're hoping to tour the workshops throughout next year. More information on this and how to contact us is available on our website, which is moonfishtheatre.com. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Jo. And yeah, we're really looking forward to hearing that production in time. Next, I'd like to introduce you to Paul Noonan, who is the lead singer with Belx1, and this is his first show for children. Baboró is part of Tracks Network, which is a network that's been running, a touring network that's been running for about 3 years now, with Dublin Fringe Festival, Cork Midsummer Festival, and Baboró Festival. So 3 different festivals in different cities around the country. And we approached Paul about developing the concerts that he'd been doing during lockdown from his home on Facebook, and creating a live in-person show from that. And luckily he rose to the challenge. Again, Paul should have been with us in Galway this week, sadly, is not due to the restrictions, but he has worked really closely with us on the team, as I said earlier, to deliver a lot of joy and music and even physical kazoos to our audience. So I'll hand over to you, Paul.
Thanks, Aislinn. Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Paul Noonan. I'm a songwriter and musician based here in Dublin. And as Aislinn said, this is my first sort of accidental foray into children's theatre, making work for children. For the last 2 years, I've been training as a music therapist, and my last placement was in a preschool here in the inner city in Dublin, working in an area of social disadvantage with children aged 3 to 5. And when lockdown happened, when the schools closed back in March, I was in the middle of that placement. And I suppose initially, partly as a way of staying connected with the children I'd been working with, I started a Facebook live stream from my home on Friday afternoons, just when parents were losing their cool. At about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we did an hour of music from my living room here, myself and my 2 kids, and developed a show. I suppose it was never really formalized as a show back then, but we did use a lot of kazoo because it's an easily mastered instrument. And I suppose staying connected with the children, I was quite proactive about soliciting thoughts from them about how they were living this moment, and asking them to draw pictures and telling me what they were missing. And we would make those submissions into songs, make up songs, and so to and fro with the children. An important part of the electric kazoo for me has been that it be very informed by input from the children. So I suppose when we were approached to bring it to theatres, formalizing it as the electric kazoo, again, I wanted to continue that idea of reaching out to the children, and it debuted here in Dublin at the Fringe Festival. And before then, we reached out to all ticket holders through the box office and asked them to send drawings of that spoke to how they were living this moment, what they were missing, what was the best bit, what was the worst bit. So we had lots of material to write songs with based on that. So those songs were, I suppose, one element. We would always, I mean, it was the show was structured loosely initially as I would have structured a music therapy session with an opening song, a closing song, and then 3 or 4 pieces in the middle. They would have included some of my own work tailored for children, featuring animations that I asked an animator friend of mine to make based on these pretty well-known songs in Ireland, and that the band had hits with. So it is again a very different animal from taking it from my front room to socially distanced audiences in theatres. It was quite a learning curve in making that leap, and the show, I think, had necessarily evolved by the time we debuted at the Dublin Fringe, and was, had a lot more going on for Baboró. Thankfully, I can say that we are doing a performance again from our living room, but incorporating a lot of these new elements that we had developed for Baboró. We're doing a performance tomorrow afternoon, Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock Galway time on Facebook Live. So if you want to tune in, please do. All welcome. And thanks for listening.
Thanks so much, Paul. And yeah, the Zoom that Paul did last weekend with the ticket holders was really special. And Paul, you had written songs specifically for all of the teddies in the room, which was, just blew people away. And there are kazoos winging their way to all of the ticket holders as we speak. So you've left no stone unturned when it comes to trying to compensate those children for what they've missed, and we really appreciate that. I just noticed that Wendy Babel, who is hi Wendy, the president of Astage, has popped up a question that I might just mention here, and maybe as people are chatting, they can talk to this a little bit. She asks, is there a particular quality or approach to stories and storytelling that is distinctive about Irish work for young audiences? What values, artistic, cultural, etc., are organically present in the work? So it'd be interesting maybe to have that in mind. Certainly, in my experience, music is really, children here love music, and there's a lot of music naturally in Ireland, and it's often integrated into shows in a really interesting way. And we love a good story, we love a good yarn. A lot of the shows tend to be quite narrative, really quite strong narrative running through them. But I think with the influence of a lot of international and particularly European work, our audiences here in Galway certainly are more open, I suppose, maybe to the possibility of more abstract work and forms of storytelling and presentation as well. And word of warning, they're very vocal. Our audiences get very excited, which we love, but some international artists are a bit shocked by, but they'll tell you exactly what they think of the show very quickly. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over now to my lovely colleague in Belfast, Evelyn DeBarra, who is director of Belfast Children's Festival. Evelyn and I took up our new posts in the same year, and we've been kind of travel buddies over the years, which has been wonderful. And her festival takes place in March. So Baboró and Belfast Children's Festival have had a nice opportunity, I suppose, to welcome some of the same delegates, particularly from the USA, but sometimes we alternate as well. So it's a really nice way of getting a sense of what's going on in Ireland by visiting both festivals. Thanks, Evelyn.
Thanks, Ashlyn. And yes, I have a photobombing cat on my knee as well here. So lovely to see so many of you joining us in Ireland today. I'm actually coming to you from Hollywood, but that is Hollywood in County Down in Northern Ireland, which is about 6 miles from Belfast city centre. And as Ashlyn said, for those who don't know me, I'm Evelyn DeBarra, and I am the director of Young at Art, which is Northern Ireland's leading children's art provider. We create and curate exceptional arts performances for children and young people, and are home to the International Belfast Children's Festival. For 6 days every March, we bring some of the finest international and Indigenous performance work for young audiences to Belfast, along with visual arts, music, literary, interactive and immersive events, attracting on average around 20,000 children, young people and their families over the 6 days from across Northern Ireland further afield. We animate public sites throughout the city, creating shared spaces in what is still a divided city for all communities to engage with arts and creativity together. Inviting you to explore the cobbled streets of the Cathedral Quarter, the cultural heart of the city. This year, inevitably, will be a little bit different. So while I'm still clinging to the hope of being able to deliver some live events in March, the festival is pivoting. And I'm delighted to announce that in next March, we are intending to host an all-Ireland online showcase, bringing a selection of some of the best performance work for young audiences from both the north and the south of the Ireland to you right in the comfort of your own armchair. So keep an eye on our website, youngart.co.uk. Sign up to our mailing list and follow us on social media to get all the details as they're announced. And we look forward to virtually welcoming you to Belfast in March.
Thanks so much, Evelyn. That's really exciting to hear that that the All Ireland Showcase will go ahead, and wishing you and your team all the best. As I hand over the baton on Monday morning to you in terms of trying to redesign a festival in Ireland right now. But obviously the team here are happy to support you in any way that we can. So moving along to Paul Bosco McEnany, who is also in Belfast, I am guessing, because right at this very moment, the University of Wonder and Imagination is beaming into homes around Galway as part of Baboró. And we were really delighted to be able to work with Paul and his team, who have, talk about pivoting. These guys have completely changed their whole model and their way of presenting work in about 6 short months. So I'll hand you over to Paul to tell you all about it. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Aisling, and good afternoon, good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Bosco McInerney. I'm the Artistic Director of Cahoots NI Theatre Company, based here in Belfast. Cahoots are almost 20 years old. We produce large to mid-scale theatre shows for young audiences. We concentrate on the visual potential of theatre and use the age-old popularity of magic and illusion as part of our ingredients to create what it is we do, which is hopefully wonder and a bit of imagination. We tour our work throughout Ireland and internationally. When the pandemic struck, we were about to start a new Irish tour of our show Secrets of Space. We were bang in the middle of a North American tour of our show Penguins, and we'd just finished an extensive tour of mainland China, Macau and Hong Kong with another one of our productions, Shush, We Have a Plan. So to say that it came at a bad time would be an underestimate of how difficult things were for us back then. Anyway, during lockdown and after we as a company, I guess, had consolidated, I started to think about what Cahoots and I could offer our audiences during these strange times. During those times, we chose not to bring our existing pre-recorded work online. I think because of the visual element of our work, we just decided that it would be detrimental to it. So I wanted, I guess, to go off and create something that was for here and for now and was reflective of where we are. I wanted to create something online that was live and interactive, a show that I guess really allowed the audience to make live decisions that would change the action and the direction of the piece. I wanted, as always, to create something that had theatrical illusion at its heart. But the challenge was greater. If an audience is in their home, how can you create wonder and magic with an audience that actually isn't even in the same room as you? And I guess that was the real theatrical hook for me, trying to work that out and surround it with a narrative. That's where I really found, I guess I found my ambition for the project in that question. I also wanted to create an online show that had high production standards. I wanted there to be real sets. I wanted there to be professional lighting, professional sound. I wanted to employ all the key creatives that we usually work with so that they could deliver their art form in this new format. And I also wanted to produce this piece for small groups because having seen a lot of work online, I realized to really connect and to really make someone not press pause and get up and make a cup of tea, it needed to be direct. It needed actual conversation with the viewer. Eventually, I came up with the project that is the University of Wonder and Imagination. It's a live interactive experience that takes place via the Zoom platform, although behind that we have what is in effect an outside broadcasting platform to bring a live theatrical experience into your own home or your classroom with live performers performing, as I say, in a professional setting. Only 6 devices enter the university at a time, and that can, 6 devices or 2 small school groups. I think it's not really a show or a concept. It's more of a brand new way of working for us in these uncertain times. We moved out of our existing office spaces in Belfast and acquired a new larger premises that I'm actually in at the minute. It allowed us to turn disused office spaces into a series of separate studio spaces that our actors, our designers, our technicians and our key creatives could make their own. They could work safely from, socially distanced, and create performing spaces that, well, I guess our artists are now creating new worlds. The show itself will last 55 minutes, and the audience, thanks to Professor Bamberg's technology and his telecomology device, go on a journey through the corridors of the university. The audience select the different rooms that they want to enter, and they meet the professors. The characters in the rooms are all extremely different and include Kahoot's trademark element of theatrical illusion. And right now, as Aisling said, we have shows happening. I'm looking at Control Room 1. There are currently 3 shows, or 3 different shows happening as I speak. Next week, we open as part of the Belfast International Arts Festival. It's interesting, today at 6 p.m, Northern Ireland enters an enforced COVID lockdown for 4 weeks. Our theatres and our galleries are once again closed. It's absolutely heartbreaking. The University of Wonder and Imagination is open. I'm in a building right now with 8 other artists who are doing their thing in their separate rooms, safe and socially distanced in a professional environment. We're planning on touring the University of Wonder and Imagination virtually, of course, next year in the US and Canada. And if you are interested in finding out more, please contact Holden and Arts Associates. I'd like to finish by thanking Baboró, who took a big gamble when I was speaking with Aisling at the start of the summer, trying to convince her that this was a good idea. I'd like to thank her for taking a punt, as we say on it. I'd like to thank IPAY for all their help and support over the years, Culture Ireland and the Arts Council of Northern Ireland for their continued support. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Paul. Great, I'm going to move because we're running out of time. Well, we've gone over time. It's Galway time. You can relax, make another cup of tea, but we'll keep on trucking. So thanks for that, Paul. Next, I'm going to introduce you to Pádraig Heenan, who is from United Fall. United Fall were to present Bird Boy to audiences here in Galway this very day, in fact. We spoke over the summer, and we were still planning to go ahead. It was the only show actually that was going to survive from the original program. It's a very special show that just had a preview at Dublin Fringe Festival. Unfortunately, they went into lockdown, had to shut down, and unfortunately we were not able to present it to our audiences. But I'll pass you over to Pádraig now, who will tell you a little bit about United Fall and Bird Boy. Thank you.
Thanks, Aisling. My name is Pádraig Heenan, and I'm the producer of United Fall. Emma Martin, our artistic director and choreographer, is actually filming Bird Boy in Galway today as I speak. As Aisling has said, we were supposed to play there this weekend, but that obviously was cancelled. However, Aisling and all the team at Baboró and Kiran at Culture Ireland worked wonders to enable the filming to happen, and we're extremely grateful to them all for that. United Fall is a contemporary dance theatre company, and we are known for our ambitious multidisciplinary work of a highly visual and atmospheric nature. Bird Boy is our first show for young audiences, and it came about because Emma wanted to make something that her 8-year-old daughter and her pals could watch. It was such a rewarding experience. We will hopefully create more works for young audiences in the future. Bird Boy is a show about not fitting in, about being alone and retreating out of the real world and into another. And we experience the character Bird Boy in this exhausting process of discovering and accepting himself. When Emma set out to make the show, she wanted it to be a really exciting visually and sensory experience. And although it's a one-person show, there's an intricate and interactive sound and stage design that the performer plays off. That performer is the incredible dancer and physical performer, Kevin Coquillard. Over the course of a number of months, both Emma and he had a deep dive collaboration in making this show. And though it's for children, they didn't censor themselves or hold back too much. They gave themselves loads of freedom to enter into the absurd universe of children's cartoons and a child's imagination, while still making sure to always make sure that they were seeing it from a child's perspective. Bird Boy is available for touring in 2021 and beyond. As I said, it just has one performer and is 40 minutes long. In all, there are just 4 in the core traveling company. It has a minimal set, which is essentially a car, and even that has been cut in 2 to allow for an easier and quicker get in and get out. We have a pack for Bird Boy, including a tech rider that we can send out now as well. I'll include a link to the trailer for the show in the chat so you can have a quick look. We're really proud of the show and we'd love to share it with loads of children and adults alike. Thanks very much for your time and interest in Bird Boy and United Fall. And thanks once again to everyone at Baboró, Culture Ireland and IPAY. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Porrick. Next, I'm going to move to Anna Newell, who brought the beautiful Sing Me to the Sea to Baboró. It was our opening show, as I mentioned earlier, and she'll tell you a little bit about her work and Sing Me to the Sea.
Thanks, Aisling. Hi, I'm Anna Newell, and I've been making theatre adventures for all kinds of audiences for the last 31 years. And for the last 10, with a really strong focus on babies under 1, early years, and children and young people with complex needs. My work's been seen on 6 continents, and I've had 2 shows booked at the New Victory and 1 at the Irish Arts Centre. I was the first Irish artist to create homegrown work for audiences of children with complex needs, and I've also directed for Oily Cart. In 2015, whilst Artistic Director of Replay in Belfast, I created the world's first Baby Day, and also later that year, I helped start Baby Theatre in South Africa. Whenever I make any of my shows for any of my audiences, I do a load of creative consultation with those audiences all the way through the process, so they inform and inspire the work. And in fact, it was way back when I was making the first show I ever made for children with complex needs that I was doing some of that work in a classroom of kids with complex needs, and those kids revealed to me what it is that I think theatre is. And I realised in that moment that for me, theatre is one human being connecting with another, and that's it. And so my job, I see, is in every single detail to ensure that we create the optimum conditions for that connection to happen. So shows like Sing Me to the Sea they're immersive and they're sensory, but above all, they're hugely responsive. For example, the gorgeous original vocal score that we sing all the way through Sing Me to the Sea pretty much stays the same from show to show, but everything else changes. Everything else is constantly nuanced in response to its audience. And so we create a situation where those children and young people can genuinely choose their own journey through this really gentle theatre adventure that teachers and parents have described as magical and mesmerising, and that they tell us again and again is an experience that elicits responses from their children they have literally never seen before. So Sing Me to the Sea was created a couple of years ago as a show that is performed in hydropools. 3 audience members, each of them with an adult guest, 3 performers, everybody in the water. And this summer we were due to do a national tour in hydropools right across the country. And then of course, everything changed. But for me, knowing that the heart of my work is it being responsive, it being flexible, it being bespoke, I just knew that what I had to do this year was to take that flexibility, that bespokeness, that responsiveness to a whole other level. So we toured Sing Me to the Sea for 5 weeks this August and September. We spent 3 weeks driving around in a camper van, taking a reimagined dry land version of the show to families directly into their own gardens, on their own driveways. Then we were back in a pool for a week, singing in masks and visors. And then a couple of weeks ago, we were back on dry land in the beautiful gardens of the Ardalawn Hotel in Galway for Baboró. We played to audiences aged 2 years to 20 years. We did in fact sing in the rain. But above all, working within the new restrictions, we found moments of extraordinary connection in this time of disconnection and distance. I'm going to put a link in the chat to my website, and there's information about all of my shows there and the work that we're doing to create new versions of them for this changing world. Lots of them travel without freight. And I'm also up for having conversations about differently sustainable models of work, where, for example, myself and my composer travel to you and recreate one of the shows with your own performers. Or even we come to you and collaborate with you and local artists to create new work for the extraordinary audiences that I am privileged to serve. Thank you so much for listening, and wishing you all the best in these really challenging times and in the year that we have ahead of us. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Anna. Last but by no means least, I'm going to introduce you to Mark Mclaughlin from Branner Theatre de Fáistí, based here in Galway. Branner and Baboró are, I suppose, long-time collaborators on various different projects, artist support schemes. We've presented Baboró here many times, and been involved in co-producing some of their work as well, and we're involved in a European project together, and Mark and his team are developing a new show for early years as part of that. And Mark, of course, along with Joanne, who's here on the call, were at IPAY in January this year when they were selected for Showcase. So I'll hand you over to Mark, who's going to tell you about their work. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisling. I can't believe that was this year. It feels like so long. So yes, in January we were delighted to be at IPAY in Philadelphia. We presented How to Catch a Star, and it was due to have a bit of a tour in the US next spring, but that has been kind of postponed, and hopefully we'll have a chance to bring that show around on tour again in the coming years. What I am going to talk to you today about is what we're currently working at. We, like everybody else, I suppose, have tried to find ways to continue to make our work relevant and keep us in contact with our audiences. And what during the lockdown, we did show some of our performances on online, but again, like Paul said, they weren't filmed for that. They were filmed for archive purposes. So it was just basically to try it out and see how they went. But we managed to turn a project called Pop-Up Poetry from a live show into, we basically turned them into cartoons, and did an animated series for RTE using newly commissioned poems for young audiences, which we performed and animated, and got the whole thing turned around in 5 weeks, and got it out onto the national airwaves. So we kept ourselves busy. But today I'd like to talk about Rock and Rhymes. We have a rock concert for young children that we had on tour last year, and we were supposed to be out on tour at the moment with it. It can entertain anything from 5 to 500, and if you give us the right arena, we will do it for 5,000 outdoors. Am I messing? It's for up to 500. So we will. Rock and Rhymes is basically what we've done is gone and we've taken the themes from a lot of the really well-known nursery rhymes and turned them into different types of rock songs. And we kind of straddled the whole evolution of rock and roll from early rock and roll up onto, we even have a ska version of Falling, which is all of the songs, all of the nursery rhymes that have something got to do with falling down in them, and there's a lot of them. Each song is accompanied on stage by an animation created by Maeve Clancy, which kind of allows different ways in which the audience can interact with it. If you want to follow the song by visually, the information is there on the screen. But we present it as it's more of a show than a concert. There's 5 performers. They all play between them about 15 instruments, and they all sing and they dance. There's a lot of dad dancing going on, but that's okay. They carry it off. The shows, like I say, can be from anything from 50. We did have 500 in the black box, I think, Ashton, last year, and we really kind of rocked that day. currently we're supposed to be on tour, but we have changed. We've pivoted again. We have we're in the process. We're in rehearsal at the moment, and next week we're recording a studio album of the show, and we are doing a project with 2 local venues here in Ireland where we are going to bring the album to schools, and also accompany that. We have a video education pack, and also like a paper education pack that accompanies the album. And the hope there is that we can help the children to engage more deeply with the music, but also kind of to expand the music curriculum and give them a choice other than like the classical music and some of the really tinny stuff that sometimes. And the Rock in the Classroom version is kind of, it's proven to be very popular among schools. So far, we went on sale on Monday, and so far we have we've been inundated with requests for it. So when Rock and Rhymes is able to go back out as a live show, we will have this package available to go alongside with it. So if you would like to get in contact with us, I'm going to put that into the chat. Everything that you need to know about the projects that we're working on and the things that we'll have available to tour is on our website, branner.ie. Thanks to Baboró, and thank you Boomer and all the gang at IPAY. It was lovely to be over there and see you all in person. I will take this to see all your faces every now and again, nodding away in tiny little screens. It's lovely to see you all, and thanks for listening.
Thanks a million, Mark and Joanne, for being on the call. Really exciting to hear that it's being filmed. Yeah, that show was rocking the Black Box this time last year. We're just getting ready, actually, weren't we, for Saturday and Sunday, and it was great crack all together. And God, it feels like something I can almost taste, you know, having those kids and all of us dancing badly in the aisles for those gigs. So, but we'll be back again. We'll do it all again. So in the meantime, well done for changing it up. So we've kind of reached the end of our session. Sorry for keeping you all a little late. I just want to thank you all so much. I know these Zooms are really exhausting. It's not the same as being in a foyer and chatting and mingling and having a bit of crack in and out between, but we will do that again. And I would urge you to, if you're interested in any of the work or the artists that you've met today, to please do get in touch. I think it's so important that as we're all have been forced, I suppose, to work locally, which can be really beneficial as well. And certainly, you know, I think we're all discovering artists maybe on our doorsteps that we haven't worked with before, but I think we do need to remain open to the outside world and keeping our international connections alive and well, because it's just so important for our children to have that, and for ourselves to have that kind of cross-cultural and kind of mingling going on, I suppose. So I would urge you to do stay in touch. Do stay in touch with us here at Baboró. If you'd like to sign up to the newsletter on our website or check out any of our social media feeds, you can get to enjoy the Electric Kazoo from Paul Noonan's very lovely Good Room on Saturday, 3 o'clock Irish time. There are still some passes to the University of Wonder and Imagination if you'd like to go along there and be wowed by that. And please do check out our website. I'm going to ask you all to switch on your cameras for a minute so we can see your lovely faces, and give us a bit of a smile, because Rachel, who is on the call, is going to take a wee photo. And so we'll pretend it's Friday evening. We've just finished work. We're going to Nocton's for pints.
Yay!
I wish.
I've got the photo.
First shout on you, Boomer. Thanks. But no, it's been great. Thank you so much, Kieran and Jenny in Culture Ireland. Thanks to my own team here. Thanks so much, Sam and Boomer in IPAY. I don't know if either of you would like to say a few words before we go, and I'll sign off here.
Thank you so much, Aislinn and Kieran and everyone on the call. I think what continues to amaze me is that, you know, in the beginning, I think our community really got to know Cahoots and the Lovitts and Branner, and the more and more we go, as you said, like we're discovering more and more great artists and more great work, and I always feel like there's so much more to discover. So I love that. It keeps me coming back. So thank you to everyone. We hope we see you the rest of SIP and right through till January, and until we can meet again. Thank you.